Hi, I'm Neil and thank you very much for joining me today for a review of Happy Home. This is from designers, the Dream Team designers, Matthew Dunstan and Brett J. Gilbert. Worked together on an awful lot of games, that I like, with the combination of Alley Cat Games' excellent production. So this is a game that I had pre-ordered at UKGE because a couple of reasons. Number one, like I said, the designers are such that I normally buy almost everything that they make. Plus the price, it was like 17 quid. So I was just like, you know, it's a Polyonimo, it looks cute, I've got to give this a go. So I did, I got it, I've played it quite a lot, so I thought I'd let you know my thoughts, and then maybe after watching this you might want to get it yourself. But I don't know, let's go down to the table, I'll show you how the game plays, talk about the rules and components, and then I'll bring you back up for my final thoughts. Okay, cheers. Okay, so what I've done is I've set up Happy Home for 3 players. I'm not showing you, but basically every player would have a board and they would also be given 2 of the starting items. What you do is you go and find these items, put them on there, and then everyone simultaneously will place these items. Now, there are some specific rules. So for example, this item here must go up against the wall with that side. So this is it's fairly obvious. This is a sink, so it needs to go. So the black and white items need to go in the black and white. This pink kitchen item also needs to go on the wall, and that's it. So once everyone's done the setup, the cards are going to be shuffled. There's a lot of them, and then a certain amount will be taken out depending on the number of players. Essentially, it means that everyone, regardless of whether you're playing a 2, 3, 4 or 5 player game, is going to get roughly the same amount of turns. So we've chosen a start player. And this is a rondel system, so the person at the back will always go first. So the person at the back picks up their meeple, lovely little meeple, and they move it as far as they want along the track. And then when they place that item, where they place it, they grab the card, and then they go hunting for that item, and then they place that item in the room. So the rules for placement are you cannot flip it over, but you can twist it around anywhere you like. Can't go on top of the door. You can obviously go next to the door and things like that. Obviously, keeping in mind, this one requires that you put this next to the wall. So I'm going to do that. So that would be my go. The next player then has a go. Now, they can go all the way over that and grab this item for their kitchen. So they grab that item, place it in their kitchen. That's them done. And then this person. Now, if this person ignores, I should say, where there's gaps, you need to replace them as they come available. So apologies. This person, if they ignore these 2 items here and say, for example, go all the way to here, these items are thrown out of the game. They do not get reshuffled in. They would then take this item here, which is a plant, which I'll explain what that does in a minute. Then, like I said, these sections are refilled, these empty sections. And then it's the person at the back. It's their go again. This is going to keep on going until players start to stop playing, and they can choose to do that whenever they like. The reason why you'd want to do that early is the first person that stops playing will get 7 points on their welcome mat, then 5, then 3, then 2, then 1, depending on the number of players. So you're going to keep on doing that, and you're going to try and score the most amount of points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off this go, and then I will show you what this player's house looks like when they're finished. Okay, so this is a good example of a completed board. The person's collected the welcome mat, 7 points, and put their person on it to indicate they're not having any more goes. So scoring, once everyone's finished, scoring will commence, and the bottom of each player board shows exactly how you're going to score. You will go score 1, 3 or 6 points for each room, each of the 4 rooms, which has 1, 2 or 3 different core items. Now, the core items are handily written on the top here. So the kitchen would require an oven, I believe that's a cabinet and a table. The bedroom would have a bed, a cabinet and a wardrobe. The living room would have a sofa, a table and a TV, and the bathroom would of course have a toilet, a sink and a bath. So if you've got all 3 items in one room, you would score 6 points. If you manage to get all 3 items in all 4 rooms, that would be 24 points, which is very unusual. You're not going to do that. Then you're going to look at the colours in each room. So what you want to do is you want to have the same colour represented in as many rooms as possible. So if you, for example, had blue in all 4 rooms, that would be the maximum amount, which is 5 points. Keep in mind that rugs are 2 different colours. So that's very, very handy. So this would be a yellow and orange one here as an example. So you're going to look at each colour and score them individually. So you'd say how many rooms have got blue, okay, how many rooms have got pitted, and so on and so forth. Next, pots, planted pots. You're going to score 1 point for each of these, plus 1 point for each gap that is next to it in a direct line orthogonally. So this would be 1, 2, 3 points. And then finally, you're going to have scratches. If you have any of these marks left on the board, not covered over, you're going to lose -1 point. And then last but not least, every game you're going to play with one of the 4 optional scorings. And this one is finishing touches. And this one tells you that for every room that has both a plant and a rug, you'll score 3 points. So that is how you play. The person with the most points wins. Just to let you know, obviously you can't place anything in this area here. There's nothing that represents that. And that's basically how you play. In terms of rulebook, it's a nice, short, clear rulebook. Pretty quick to get your head around it. In terms of the quality of the polyominoes, they're really good, especially for the price you're paying. I mean, this cost me 17 quid, so that's pretty great. There are a few little problems. So I mentioned this one here. There are only 4 scoring opportunities, extra opportunities. Game could have definitely done with more. And they're not that well explained in the iconography. I'll show you a couple more in a minute when I take you away from the table. But effectively, you need to keep on referring back to the rulebook for the good 5 or 6 games you play of this. But yeah, apart from that, for the amount you're paying, this is amazing value for money. Okay, I hope that how to play, it was just a very brief high-level overview. I didn't want to give you all the details, but you got a good idea as to how the game plays. But I hope that how to play and look at the rules and components give you a good feel for Happy Home. And now I'd just like to talk about what I think about this game. I like it. I like it quite a lot, actually. It's brutally fast. This game is so fast, you must get things going really quickly. There's no thinking, oh, I could grab that later. No, someone else is just going to grab this. So yeah, this game is really, really fast. I'm talking probably, I mean, what does the box say? The box says 20 to 45. I'm saying 20 minutes. I mean, if you played it at 5 players, it might extend it a bit, but not really. It's not going to extend it much because obviously you're just going to be going through that deck really, really quickly. I really enjoy Polyomino games. It gives me similar vibes, this one, to one of my favourite games of the last 6 months, which is Junk Drawer. Only in terms of the space in which you're playing and how quick it is. But in terms of how you're taking the cards, that rondel, that's a really nice system. And the fact that every card is represented with every single polyomino, you'd think it would be overwhelming, but it's not. There's only 15 of each type. Keep them in their own bags. It makes it nice and easy for setup and teardown. Although I will say that the adding in the cards for the starter cards, once you've taken out 2 per player, any that are left over are added into the deck before you shuffle and then resort it. So what you have to do at the end of each game is then go through the whole deck, making sure you've got all 10 of those starter cards. It's got a little key in the left-hand corner, which is fine, but it's just a bit of a flaff. But you know, it's not the end of the world. So that's just one small negative for it. In terms of who I think this game is for, it's definitely aimed towards kind of gateway gamers, family gamers. But the puzzle of getting those points quickly actually elevates it a little bit, because the points are a lot harder to get than you think you're going to. You've got to try and get all 3 types of furniture for all 4 rooms, as well as getting as many of the same colour across the whole house for as many of those colours as you can. And that's where the rugs come in real handy, because obviously the rugs have 2 colours. But obviously when you're drafting a rug, you're not drafting a piece of furniture, and so on and so forth. And the space is limited as well. You've got very little space to play in this lovely new starter home, dream home that you've got. So yeah, it's interesting. Then you've got, add on to that the potted plants. They want some space, obviously, to breathe. You want to cover those scratches. And then finally, you're trying to achieve those 4 objective cards, one of those 4 objective cards. So yeah, it kind of elevates it. The speed of play and the brutal nature of the scoring, because if you make a few mistakes and put the same item in the same room a couple of times and so on and so forth, and maybe don't get very many colours, you're not going to score very well. Whereas other people who have managed to get 3 items in 2 or 3 rooms and colours spread across the whole house, they're going to score really, really well. So yeah, you need to keep an eye on that, which is part of the reason why I like the game as much as I do, because of that. The fact that it gives you this feeling, oh, this is a nice, light, fluffy game. But really, you need to be on it. You need to be working at full speed when you're playing this game, which is great, which is absolutely fantastic. In terms of value for money, like I said, £17. This is great. You're getting a lot of great stuff, great components, lovely sized box, really great sized box for £17. Well, that's how much it was at the expo anyway. I'm sure the retailer might be a bit more, but still. This is great value for money for what you're getting. The length of play, it feels about right. You'll always play a couple of games for me. So I have said quite a few times that it's over a lot quicker than what you expect, but that's a good element of it. So yeah, I really like that. One complaint, which I alluded to earlier on, is the objective cards. There's 4 objective cards in the game, and they're nicely different. The game could have done with a load more, because you're going to see that you're going to shuffle and do one of those each time, and you're going to see them very quickly. And I think, you know, they could have put in 10 or maybe more. I don't know. It would have been really nice. The other thing is they're not explained that well on the cards themselves. The iconography is not that good. And I have to refer back to the rulebook, especially when teaching new people. When we get to the end of the game, they're like, oh, this is what we were meant to do, isn't it? And I'm like, no, I already explained it was this or this and doing this and this. And they're like, oh, that's not what the picture looks like. And I'm like, yeah, I know, and that's a little bit frustrating, but you know, it's not the end of the world. The rule book's there is nice and quick, so it's not the end of the world. So yeah, I really like the game. Where I'm coming in on this is really all kind of depending on you and how you feel about quick Polyonimo games. Now, for me, I think this is worth playing. I think you should go out and play this game if you can, and if it's the kind of game you like, if you like the look of it from this review, then buy it for sure, especially at the price. So it's not quite a buy it if you see it, it's a play it if you see it. If your friend's got it, if you can see it at a library or a convention, definitely give it a play, and if it scratches that itch that you're looking for, then definitely pick it up. For me, it does scratch that itch, and I'm super pleased with it. In terms of my Board Game Geek rating, I'm putting this down as a 7 out of 10. Which for me is basically, yeah, really, really like it. Not blowing my socks off, but I really, really like it. So yeah, that was my review for Happy Home. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one. Okay, cheers.